Hello guys, I am back with my long-awaited foundation routine. I will show you how to go from completely bare-faced to full glam. And I am telling you the number of times I tried to record this as a get ready with me style, it was just not working. I will have to figure out my audio situation pretty soon, but in this video you'll see I am recovering from that time of the month, that traumatic time of the month for my skin. So there are a lot of little spots I want to cover up. I had gigantic issues this month, so you'll see I'll still make my face look pretty flawless and smooth for the eye look I'm going for today. So to start off, I'm actually going to use my all-nighter setting spray. I know it might seem weird to do this before foundation, but I feel like this actually helps all the makeup stick to my skin. So that's why I do it before, and you'll see I also do it after. Now this pore minimizing primer, I take a very small amount and I rub it between my fingers to make it super silky, and then I go from the pores on my nose all the way down to my laugh lines. This weird thing happens sometimes where if you put too much, the product will come off as tiny little balls in your finger, so you don't want to use too much. Anyway, moving on to foundation. So recently you can see I'm looking really sad because I will never be able to use this L'Oreal foundation again. I'm actually going cruelty free, so anything I purchase from now on is going to be completely cruelty free, and L'Oreal is one of the biggest makeup companies that is not cruelty free. So as much as I love this Infallible Pro Matte foundation, L'Oreal, you need to get with it. You need to get with the times. Be cruelty free! Animals don't need to be harmed just because we want to look pretty. I mean, come on! So, I am not completely my winter shade just yet. I actually still have tan lines, so I have to mix some colors. I'm mixing 109 with the lighter 108. Otherwise, 108 would have usually worked perfect during the winter, but yeah. Yes, I realize I look like the Grinch. So with my beauty blender, I start off with my darker areas, so my chin and my forehead are always a little bit more pigmented and dark, so I will go there first, and then I will go into the middle of my face and blend out all of that foundation and just really work it into my skin. And I also cover up my eyelids. I know that's not what a lot of people do, but I feel like it's just another layer to help me conceal my pigmented eyelids. I also go down my neck a little bit just so it doesn't look like I just have a mask on. It kind of blends into the rest of my body. And I swear guys, shade matching will be the bane of my existence. So I'm going back in with another layer of the light color, trying to figure out if my face matches the rest of my body. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there will understand the struggle. So now, for my favorite concealer of all time that I will no longer be able to use. This is a sad day, people, because this is my last concealer that I have of Nars, and it is honestly so sad. I used to look for concealers that would match me for like years, and now that I've found one, and I have realized that they are not cruelty-free, help me out here, guys. Tell me if you know of another peachy, orangey toned concealer that is as thick and full coverage as the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. And just for reference, I use 1.5 medium dark. So again, please let me know if you know of a concealer that is like that Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. And you can see here, I'm just gonna go back in with that darker foundation around my chin area, because if I just put my concealer there to hide my pigmentation, it ends up looking a little bit ashy, just because my skin there is darker. I personally think the key to a completely flawless full coverage base is to work in layers. It's not like I went in immediately and put on a thick coat of foundation. That wouldn't really give me the look I'm going for. So, as you saw before, I put a layer of foundation, then another layer of foundation if I felt like I needed it, and then you can see I'm using concealer to just hide those spots that are, you know, old scars or pimples or whatever it is. So if you work in small layers and add a little bit as you go, it just makes it look like you're not wearing as much foundation, even though I totally am. So now I'm going to go back in with that concealer right on the tip, right on the tip, right on the tip of my nose to try and make my nose look completely straight and narrow, which it is not. So this is a really good tip. Just put the concealer right on the bridge of your nose and fade it into the rest of your skin. So the first layer of concealer underneath my eyes actually did quite a lot to hide the pigmentation, but if I want a completely flawless full coverage base, which that's the purpose of this video, I actually go in with a second layer just to completely take away the gray and the purple underneath my eyes and on my eyelids. And again, if I see any of my acne scars peeking through, I'll just go back in, add another layer. So this Shape Tape in medium, completely too light for me, but what I do is I put it right in the center of that nose, just to make that part look a little bit wider because it's actually skinnier than the rest of my nose, so it doesn't help my nose look any straighter. So I put it in the center of my nose and I put it right on top of my eyelids just to neutralize those eyelids even more. And then I will blend everything out again, especially in my laugh line. So yes, I will make that stupid face where I stick my tongue into the inside of my cheek, and I blend everything out super well so that there are no creases before I set everything. And it is super important for us tinted women out there to pay close attention to the inner corner of our eyes when we're blending out our concealer. It's really easy to forget about that spot, but that spot can be the most discolored spot on our face. So pay extra attention to that tiny little crevice. Ew, I hate the word crevice. I don't know why I just said that. So getting a little personal here, I used to absolutely hate my nose on my face. It was my #1 flaw, or so I thought. I used to get bullied because of it. I mean, I get it. When you're the only brown person at your school in elementary school and you have an ethnically diverse nose, that is what happens. Lifetime of emotional scars. Yay! But anyway, this method of actually making the bridge of my nose look a little bit bigger has eventually made me appreciate my nose more, so I really have makeup to thank for that. I mean, I kind of love my nose now. It's different, and yeah, I still complain about how big it is, but honestly, it makes me who I am. So right before I set my entire face, I will go back in with my beauty blender, and I will pat out the creases that have occurred in my eyelids. Just from blinking. I mean, honestly, when you just blink, your eyelids move, therefore it moves the wet concealer there, so I will just go back in, pat everything out. Sometimes I'll even pat out the creases in my laugh lines right before I set it, because if you set it like that, the creases are there to stay, especially under your eyes. You know what time it is. It is setting powder time. I swear this is like a gift from the gods, because before I knew powder was a thing, holy crap, the creasing was real. So what I do is I take this dome-shaped brush and I just pat it in to my setting powder, and then I tap off the excess, and I will just go in and pat everywhere I put that concealer, especially underneath my eyes and on my eyelids. If I do not set those areas, listen, I have oily skin, and I have especially oily eyelids, which is really weird saying that out loud, but I do. My eyelids are oily, it's weird. And if I don't set it, oh my god, it's a nightmare. My eyeshadow will start to slip, and cause these weird creases. So yeah, everything is getting set in place with my powder. I also set my laugh line areas around my mouth because I talk and I laugh way too much in my life, so that part also starts to crease immediately, and the setting powder helps with that. And when I set the bridge of my nose, it helps that concealer stay on longer, creating the illusion of my straight perfect nose for longer. I go back in with a little extra powder, but I don't really think this is baking necessarily because I go back in straight away to brush all of that unnecessary fallout away. And for this, I will go in with my Maybelline powder. Again, I'm making a face because guess what? Not cruelty free. Maybelline, get it together, please! For the sake of brown girls everywhere, you have such nice powders. Anyway, I'm going in with my dome-shaped brush, and I'm just brushing away all the fallout. So really, you don't have to worry if your translucent powder gets everywhere, because you're brushing it all away anyway. And you can see it left behind a very brightened under eye, and that's what I want. Do you guys remember when the Nars Ita brush was like all the craze? Well, I'm actually using a brush that kind of looks like it. It's just like a flat shader brush, and I use my black Radiance powders, and look, I finally look happy because black Radiance is cruelty-free. I'm just using their pressed powders. They're actually like foundation powders, but because they're foundation powders, they look super natural on my skin. So I'm going in with the darker shade. Again, all the specific details of these products are going to be listed down below, so make sure to check that out if you're around my skin color. So I'm going in with a darker shade right underneath my cheekbone where the hollow of my bone is. You can kind of feel it on your skin itself. If you just press your bone structure, you can feel where that hollow is. I'm just going in and putting in that dark shade there. I have a teeny tiny forehead, so I don't really contour my forehead too much, but I just put it along the side of my hairline to make that color look as natural as possible, I guess, for makeup, for a full face of makeup. So now I'm going in with a more fluffy dome brush, and I kind of use this lighter color as my bronzer, and I also use it to fade my contour into my face. And when I do this, I make sure to blend up with my brush instead of down towards my jawline, because if I blend it down, your contour and bronzer will end up looking very muddy, and it actually won't make your cheekbones look lifted. It'll just make you look like you rolled around in dirt. And I'm sure like that's artsy and whatnot, but that's not really what I'm going for today. So blend upwards. My jaw is unfortunately, or fortunately, very, very sharp already, so I'm not really trying to define it, but I do run that bronzer along it so that it looks like that color is naturally everywhere on my face. Okay, so I already highlighted my nose, but now I'm going to contour it. And this part I actually really freaking take my time with. I concentrate on running this tiny little brush with the darker contour color down my nose, right next to the bridge of my nose. Basically, I'm focusing on the tips of my nose, trying to make that part look very narrow to match the top part of my nose. And I also try and cut off the bottom of my nose because my nose is very circular, and I'm trying to make it look like very angled and pointed and teeny tiny, instead of, like the bulbous thing that it is. Okay, so now that I look like the Scarecrow, I'm not going to really leave it like that because today is not Halloween. I am actually going to go back in with this fluffy small blending brush, and I'm going to blend that contour out just a little bit more, just so, again, the believability factor is there. And yeah, I just take my time, especially around the tip of my nose, because again, I'm trying to make it look very, very small and pointed. I got this new NYX ombre blush to try out. It goes from like highlighter to blush. And side note, I used to freaking hate blush. I always wondered why people would wear it because aren't you trying to get rid of the pink and red in your face? Why would you try and put it back with blush? I really did not get it. But now I'm like a freaking blush fiend. I will 100% go overboard every day with it, but I do not care. So that blush was pretty nice. But I'm not going for that natural look today. I'm going for that full glam look. So I'm going back to my trusty Milani Rose Powder Blush. And yeah, look at that color. It's adding what I need. Am I going completely overboard with blush? Yes, I am. But here's my reasoning, okay? Blush leaves my face a lot faster than any other powder, so I put on a little extra and it'll come off. Okay, my setting spray is down to its last life, and this looks freaking pathetic, or completely dirty. But, yeah, I'm gonna use every last drop of it. So anyway, now is the time for setting spray. I do this before highlighter, and I actually use my beauty blender to push the setting spray into my skin, into the makeup basically, because that will help it last on my skin for longer, and it'll be a good base to apply my highlighter on top of, so my highlighter will stick and be super vibrant. So I think highlight placement is super important, so that's why I'm kind of motioning here for you. Do you see the tops of my cheekbones connected to underneath my eyebrow? It kind of forms this C that's already a little bit glowing just because it catches the light. That is where I put my highlighter. So it's going to be different on everyone's face, but I encourage you to look in the mirror and see where the light actually hits your cheekbones. That's where you want to emphasize with highlighter. And honestly, this Fenty Beauty highlighter is, oh my god, the best thing in the world. Of course, I went out and got Trophy Wife as soon as it came out because holy crap, I want to be dripping in gold, and this is basically that. So I, of course, went a little bit overboard with that highlighter, so I go back in with my bronzer brush and just push the bronzer up to the highlight, and that looks a little bit more natural. So now it's time for the detail work, and I'm using this tiny little brush for it. I think this is my favorite part of my makeup routine every single day. It's like the smallest little thing to add highlighter on the bridge of your nose, underneath your eyebrows, on your cupid's bow, and on your inner eye, but I feel like it makes the biggest difference. It just makes your entire face come alive. It just looks like you're super dewy, even though I used a completely matte makeup look. It just adds a little something to me. It makes me feel like I sparkle. So it's my favorite part. And because this is my full glam look, I am going back in with a second highlighter. Yeah, this is my so sad Becca highlighter, the Jaclyn Hill one in Champagne Pop. It is beautiful and it's actually super natural. It just adds an extra gleam to all of the highlighted points. I feel like it makes it look even just a little bit more believable. Like Trophy Wife is just straight up gold on your cheeks, but Champagne Pop makes it look like the gold is glowing from within. So yeah, it's freaking gorgeous. And you can even see here, just by adding that Champagne Pop, which is a little bit more of a silver rose gold tone, it just makes me look like I have dewy skin everywhere. Even though in the key parts, like my T-zone, I kept everything super matte. And that's the difference. In this full glam foundation look, I went from this, an oily mess, to completely matte skin, but with the highlight, everything looks super dewy and fresh and beautiful. So I hope you guys enjoyed all of my tips. I know this was a really long video, and if you stayed till the end, you can see the bonus clip, my full finished holiday glam look. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to see this glittery holiday look next week, and write down in the comments what you want to see even after that. I am totally open to your suggestions. And shameless plug, I have an Instagram, eshi.j. I would love to see you guys over there as well. And I will see you guys next week. Bye!